this, what we need is the damage calculated formula. So whenever you fight a Pokemon in the Pokemon game, it runs through a formula and does all this math based on different factors. Now, here's what this formula looks like by itself. X is the amount of damage points you give to the other Pokemon. When we start off, it's 2 times the level your Pokemon is at. That could be anywhere from 1 to 100. You then divide that by 2 before adding number 2. So you half it before adding 2. Then you have to multiply it by the power the move uses. So that could range again from the number 10 or 0 to the number, I think, 120. That's the highest damage move I've seen before. So that is your damage. I'll tell you all the circumstances we need for a really strong move with Shuckle. Then you have to multiply that by your attack stat, your attack or special attack stat, depending on which one you're using, versus their or your enemy's defense stat, or again, special defense stat, depending on what move you're using. And then you close that up. This isn't the entire thing. Using this just to indicate that the equation moves on, you add the number 2 to it. Before multiplying this entire answer out with modifiers. I'm using just the word mod for short. Modifiers are things that are affected outside of stats and training. So you could say the examples would be weather. Some attacks are boosted by 50% depending on the weather. Or a critical hit. Critical hits are boosted by 50%. Or as well as boosting your own attack power itself. So when you do that, it's by 4 times as much. It's very impressive. Or again, type weakness. Type weakness could go all the way up to 0.25 to 0.1. Or actually, no, 0.25 to 5 to 4. Excuse that. But we'll get into the modifiers when the time comes. Right now, we are going to talk about our friend Shuckle. When you use Shuckle, he has some very interesting stats. Shuckle at level 100. The main stats you want to focus on when you have a level 100 Shuckle is its defense stat. Because when it has a defense stat, it could be somewhere from the neighborhood of 400 as the lowest, which is a ridiculously high number, even for all other Pokemon, to 614. This is what I believe is nearly the highest attack, the highest stat you could get on any of them. So when you use this, you want Shuckle to switch his defense stat with his attack stat, because his attack stat could range from 22 at the worst, and even basic Pokemon have more than this, to about 120. So using this move called Power Trick, you switch it to where Shuckle's defense stat is then switched with Shuckle's attack stat. So that means you can have an attack of 614 at the maximum. This is what we want. So in this equation, we're going to be acting as if we have a power switch Shuckle. This is where things get complicated, because when you use Shuckle to its fullest potential, it could be really gnarly math that you're doing. Because there are several factors that you need to do to boost its attack. So, for example, the move Helping Hand. The move Helping Hand, which we'll abbreviate to HH, gives you a 50% boost in your attack, or about 1.5 if you were to use normal math on it. When you use it with 2 Pokemon, each using Helping Hand in a triple battle, this could equal up to twice the amount of base power you have. You also want to use Defense Curl right before you use the move that we're going to use, which is rollout. Rollout is a rock type move where every time it hits, it increases its power by twice as much as the previous. So if you use defense curl plus rollout, rollout's base attack is about 30. But because you want it to hit on the 5th turn, which is the maximum amount of times you can hit, and it doubles, it'll look something like that. But since, again, defense curl boosts consecutive moves, you'll multiply it by that, and we'll get to that answer later. I'll write it down. You also want a partner using the ability Flower Gift, and for that we'll use FG. Flower Gift increases the user's attack by 1.5, or not the user's, but a partner's attack by 1.5. So we'll be using this when we use it for its attack, its rollout attack. You also want it to have its ability switch. You want its ability to be pure power. When you use pure power, or when a Pokemon has pure power as its ability, its base attack, the stat, is doubled. And then you also want to boost its stages, so you want to increase its attack power by 4 times as much, so 400%. We'll use this interchangeably. And finally, we want him to have Metronome. It's an item that boosts the attack of consecutive hitting moves like rollout. And when you do that, you could add it later into the equation, but it doubles its attack. And you also want its opponent Pokemon to be a Combee. Combee with the lowest stat it could have for its defense, and that's about 5 from what I have learned in my Pokemon games. And that's about it. So let's do some math. This is the number we'll be using for when we use the move power, because again, hitting on the 5th turn along with defense curl doubling its base attack. That's the move we'll be using. Now in this example, we have the base attack stat, which we switch with its defense stat. Pure Power increases it by twice. Flower Gift increases it by 50%, as well as that we boosted its attack power initially using some moves like Swagger. So that equals these two are going to be the main numbers we're multiplying by the initial equation. so this is how it is when you set everything up. We'll be simplifying these numbers in a bit. So this would equal 102. 200 divided by 2 plus 2, 102. This would be multiplied by the base attack, while this is then simplified down to 736.8. We want to multiply all of these, and that should give us excuse me, I'm sick. To 144,294,912. Well, we also have to multiply it by the 50, or divide by the 50, I mean, excuse me. And that should equal I'm going to erase this. That should equal about 2,885,898.24 plus 2, so that's just, again, repeated, 8, actually, yeah, plus 4. That should equal, changing these numbers to 900.24. Now this is where we enter modifiers, and modifiers are a little bit complicated, so it might be a little rough to understand at times. Some modifiers depend on weather, some modifiers depend on your badge and stuff like that. But for this one, we'll be using modifiers that only make a really big difference, because every modifier that neutralizes it is just a 1. So what we want to use is its type effectiveness. And that'll be 4, because Combi is a bug type, and bug types are weak to rock moves, which rollout is. So it has a 4 times weakness to this move. We also want to use the 1.5 stab ability. So stab means same type advantage boost, or same type attack boost. So since Shuffle is a bug rock type, and it's using a rock move, it gets a stab boost. And then we want to get another critical hit. Critical hits increases an attacking move by 50%. And finally, it's a 1 for a normal move. But since this is a consecutive move, using the item Metronome, which increases it another 2, that'll end up being a number 3. These are the modifiers that are important when taking into account a move. Also, just for fun, we'll include a 1 because this is a random number generator, where it generates a number anywhere from 8.5 to 1, and ideally we want the maximum amount of damage it could give. So when multiplying all these numbers out, you get about you get 77,919,806.48. That is a massive amount of damage that any Pokemon will receive, no matter if it's the Pokemon with the highest amount of HP or hit points. Because the Pokemon with the highest amount of hit points, fun fact, is Blissey. Blissey has a maximum amount of 714 hit points. And if you want to do a little bit of fun, if you divide this number by Blissey's maximum amount of health points, you could knock out the strongest Pokemon in any person's team You can knock out the strongest Pokemon in any person's team over 100,000 times. Pretty interesting for a Pokemon that looks something about like this. Anyways, I hope you've learned something because I'm not doing this another third time. Anyways, I'm glad to have you guys here. Not really. I'm glad to be doing this project. Sort of. And I'm glad that I have Mr. Apollo as a teacher to help me show how fun math could be even if it's not so fun filming it. Anyways, thank you and I'll see you guys next time, hopefully in college.